You also could do it like this, okay? Client, Paris trip. So you have individual trips for clients. The important thing here is to just know that if you organize your folder system so that it helps you manage, again, the priorities of the incoming emails. Here's the other key, is to set up your messages so that they automatically go to specific folders, all right? And this is basically where you're setting up rules. So as an example, you have all of your folders, and basically you say, hey, when I get an email, here's what I want to happen. I can have it be from a specific person. I can have it have a subject. I can have a variety of things happen. And when it shows up with that specific tag, it will be routed to a specific folder. So again, if, for example, you're working with a client or you have a partner email, you can have it go to the folder, and then if you know that that's a client that's not traveling for 6 months, is that probably an email that you need to look at today? Chances are not, okay? That's a way to help you manage when you need to look at emails. So setting up rules are important. Another one is when when you send emails, you need to know that if you're sending them at 9, at 10 o'clock at night, and it's not your work hours, what is the client going to think? Pretty much, I should be able to talk to you at any time. So in Outlook, you have the ability to basically say, all right, I've created the email, but I don't want it to go out until this time or this day. So you can construct this so that it says on Monday at 8 a.m. when it's my office hours, I'd like to have those go out. Now, that may be a little bit too much work, so the other way to do that is just to create it and then put it in your draft. Save it, and then here's the great thing about that is, you might have done it at the end of the day on Friday and you were tired, and so when you come in, you have an opportunity to pull it out of the draft folder and reread it before you now send it off. But the goal here is to send your emails during your normal office hours so that it helps clients understand, yes, you may have drafted it last night at 10 o'clock, but if you send it at 10 o'clock, that sets a standard, that they think, oh, well, Jay's responding at emails at 10 o'clock. That's just try to manage that, and that's an important piece. So Outlook can do it. But I do think that draft folders are the best way to be able to do that. Okay, so this is about now you understand a lot. You got a to-do list. You got all that. So now one of your primary things is about itineraries. And we've talked about that all week. So how will you manage that? Basically, the question is, where do you start? Well, hopefully we've helped you understand where you're going to start, and that's with, oh, Lord, Virtuoso.com. That's where we start, right? That's where we start. Wow. Can we get those exams back? I mean, seriously. We talked about that. We demoed. Starting here, because you have the ability to add your quick links, get all of the tasks that you want. This is the springboard. It's really the place that you want to begin. We've talked about the hotel catalog that you can now book in there. You can find that. You can do some comparisons. That's a great tool. This is time saving. Rather than using any other tool, rather than having to go to a hotel site, this is a great way to do it. Yes, we've talked about it is Virtuoso Properties, while there are some other tools, but this is, a good place to begin. There's the booking tool. We've talked about that. The on-sites. When you're working with an on-site or even a tour operator, this is that tool, we talked about it, that will help make sure the communication that you start is with the most information for the partner so that they can come back with a really good itinerary the first time rather than you and them having to go back and forth. And it is one of the biggest feedbacks that we get from the on-sites and the tour operators for FITs, because they're like, well, they just email and say, hey, Jay and his family want to go to Bolivia. Oh, okay. What could I, so this tool The service request form, which is found where? In virtuoso.com, under Destinations Experiences, and then under the on-sites, okay? Save that, put it on your quick links. But that will help make sure you get all the information that you need the first time. The cruise tool, we've already talked about that. A lot of features that are there that will help you find the right cruise without having to visit individual cruise sites. It all can be found here. And of course, the great thing is it identifies whether it's a Voyager Club sailing, a Virtuoso Voyages sailing, whether it's a hosted sailing. All of those things can be found from there. Bless you. Oh, that's all more of cruise. Okay, cruise alerts. We talked about that. The importance of being able to track a cruise. Saving time when price changes happen or when anything is added, whether promotions are expiring. Those are some good things to know. All right, so let's put it all together. And you do this with an itinerary tool, whether it's Axis, UMapped, or Travify. Whatever you use, whatever your agency uses, this is a key component. It's how you're going to, one, get a proposal done, import content from people like Approach Guides, or our partners. You know, certain partners allow you to have information imported directly in, and sometimes you may actually have to manually enter it. But when you start there, when you create the proposal in one of these three, then it naturally allows you to collaborate, because the client can come back and say, well, you know, that one property, I'll put that in there. And when they're done, they say, yeah, that's it. That's the itinerary I think is going to work. Then it turns into their itinerary. You publish it, and now it's something that you help manage and they now have for the trip. It's one. You don't have to go into Word and create a proposal and send it off. Now, if you want to do that, of course, that's your style. That's fine. But it's going to take more work on your part, because then you have to go back and forth. You create more documents, and then you have to find other ways to publish it. And this prints out in published documents. So if your client likes the tactile feel and they want something, we can do that. So there's a variety of ways to accomplish that. There's one more tool. And I think there are some of you in here who would probably like this tool, because clearly we've already established this is a spreadsheet team. It's something called Trello, okay? So Trello is a visual tool. It is basically a project management tool, and it allows you to create boards that look at the information in a very picturesque, but in a very organized way. There is a pretty steep learning curve for Trello, just so that you know, but here's an example of one for a travel itinerary. So it's a Hawaii vacation. To do before the trip, travel insurance, check passport, you know, do you have your animals taken care of? You know, do they have pet sitting going on? There's all kinds of boards that go into a Trello board that you can manage this, if that's something that you want. And this is completely interactive. You can share it with a client. The clients can do things in the board as well. So Trello is just another tool if you are that person that likes more project management style. Okay, now there's a cost. It is something that you would have to do on your own, but Trello could be something that works. Checklists, we've really talked about it a lot this week. You've got to have tools that help you manage your information so that you don't miss anything. So this is a reservation checklist. It was created by Ann Scully out of McCabe Travel, and did some, well, you listened to a couple of them. Let's Talk Travel. So this checklist is one that she shared. It is something that can be very valuable, because it really has all of the things that you might have to do for your client, and it's going to help you not miss anything. What's that? It is currently in your email. I have already sent it to you. Yeah. I sent it to you earlier this morning. And I sent it to you in a Word doc, so that if you want, you can manage it and change it that will suit your needs. So there you already have that, and that's good. Okay, so let's talk now about distractions. So you kind of got a lot about you, the process, checklists, you know, all of that, but there's a lot of things that are going to possibly interrupt you. Instant messages got to be one at the top. You know, the pop-ups, communications, they're very valuable. You know, they're quick ways to get information, reach out to people, you know, rather than having to type a long extended email. But if those are always popping up, especially, again, we're talking about that time when you need to focus. This is when you need to just turn it off. Shut it down so that, you know, or put your do not disturb, which unfortunately I don't think people actually pay attention to. They just go ahead and type like, oh, I didn't realize you had your do not disturb up there. So that might be one that you need to shut down. Get rid of IM when you're trying to do that focused work. Here's another one. The pop-ups, and this is primarily with Outlook, you know, where you get that little banner that shows up on your desktop. That can be distracting, or you'll often get, you know, the little envelope down here on your taskbar, or it could be a sound, a little ping, little ding, that whatever happens. All of that, to me, should be shut down. Because you can check your emails if you think that you're expecting something from a client or from a partner that you need to respond to, then go look at email real quick to see if it's shown up. But you don't need all of these things constantly bombarding you that you're already behind on email, and now I'm getting more notifications than I'm getting further behind, especially, again, when you're trying to focus. So you can go in and basically turn all these off. Play a sound, briefly change the pointer, show an envelope, display a desktop alert. Get rid of all those check marks so that in Outlook you don't have to be bombarded with that information. Why do we want to do all of this? So that we can manage our time, we can stay to our tasks, and not avoid opportunities, because we want to allow ourselves the ability to have time for people that may stop in. All right, so let's wrap this up by talking more about you. You've got to take time to recharge. Now, that's for both of us, right? I mean, introverts, extroverts, you've got to have time where you're able to take a breath. And it may be that you just need to get up for that 15 minutes, walk outside, you know, just get away from your desk in order to take a full breath. You got to have a balance. You know, you can't think that you're going to be able to work 12 hours a day and stress out. And one, family's going to get more challenging. You know, you're going to get, you know, a little bit testy. So you've got to recognize that you have to find a balance and you have to manage it. Training is key. We have talked about that. So I showed you where to find the 2 tools to help develop your own training plan and the takeaway form that when you're doing webinars, you get very specific things out of that. So the Travel Academy is, of course, that tool. Jennifer already talked about the top 10 list. We know how important that is. You know, the thing is while they are great, and we do a lot of good things with that, if you look at that list, and if none of them really fit what you're interested in or what you have clients doing right now, any one of those is just going to be a distraction when you're not trying to accomplish one of those. Now, yes, if, you know, the Zagram Expeditions was something because it's expedition and you're part of, you know, the adventure community, that may be something that is going to be important to you, but maybe you don't need to do it today because it's a recording, so you need to put that on your to-do list and maybe look at doing that later. Schedule it, but you don't necessarily have to accomplish it right this minute. We talked about the value of Web 15s and quick trainings. Web 15s really are great, focused, 15 minutes or less, where you don't have a lot of questions at the end, but it really gives some very important takeaways from that partner. So those are great. And then quick trainings are all about Virtuoso. Those are ones that are going to help you understand how to maximize your profile, you know, how to you know, do your quick links. There's a variety of those in there. Those are all focused as well. You're going to get back on Monday, and you've already got a lot on your plate. You've taken a lot from this week. And when you start ramping up, if you don't start putting a few of these things in place to help manage your time, it's going to get overwhelming. And imagine what it's going to be like in a year for some of you who are going to probably be million-dollar producers, Or in 2 years, when you have a book of business that's got, you know, good 50 or 60 clients that are like popping, some of these will help you keep your sanity. Some of you will never have that, but you will be able to keep your sanity. So it's a good way to start off to get good habits established with some of the things that are going to be challenges as you get busier. So you're not going to get more than 24 hours in a day. It's never going to happen. So hopefully you can manage some of that as you go through. All right? Any questions? I mean, a lot of information. So, yes?
You know the on-site sheet to fill out?
Yep.
Can you tell me again where to find that?
I'm going to send you the link. But remember, you can only access it if you're logged in. So if you click on it, it comes up with a 404 error message or says, sorry, the page you're looking for you can't get to. Just know that you've got to log in. Yeah, so I will send you a direct link to that, so just to save you some time. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
There's more hot fries back there, just so you know.
If you didn't get the chocolate is back there too. This is my laptop. We'll just leave it there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's, yeah.